Welcome to episode 526 of the Grit to Greatness Endurance Podcast. We are your hosts, Coaches April, Coaches Lauren, and Coach Rich, and we are so glad to have you here with us today. We have an amazing show, and listen, we all know that traveling to a race is stressful. Between the flights, the hotels, race prep, the last thing that you want to worry about is whether your bike will actually show up in one piece. Oh, and you don't want to worry about putting it together too, right? So today we're pulling back the curtains on the world of bike transport for endurance sports with ProBikeExpress and the owner of that company, Wes Smith. Wes, welcome to the podcast. We've been talking about doing this for a long time, my friend.
Oh, no. Well, I'm just thankful that actually you invited me. So it's been great. So thank you so much.
Well, having dropped off my bike with Wes and picked up my bike from Wes a number of times, I know we are on track for a really good, fun conversation. I never leave an interaction with Wes without feeling just sort of giddy, I guess. So we're glad you're here. Coach April, Coach Lauren, are you guys ready to get gritty?
I was born ready, Rich.
Born ready. We'll let you guys take it with the announcements.
Wes, great to meet you. And I'm so glad that you're going to be sticking around for the entirety of the show because we have a fun segment for you that is all about bike travel bingo. So that's going to be a part of the show. I know you're excited for that. But first, let's get into our announcement. We have TriDot Pool School coming up on February 28th and March 1st here at the Air Force Academy. So whether you're a beginner struggling to feel comfortable in open water or an experienced athlete chasing podium spots, improving your swim technique can unlock some huge benefits, whether that's greater confidence, efficiency, or speed in the water. So we're going to explore what good mechanics look like, why they matter, and how programs like TriDot Pool School can accelerate your progress. You can use the code, all in one word, Rocky Mountain Rate, to get $125 off your registration with Pool School. And we would love to see you there. It is beautiful outside. It's been a great week. The pool is pristine, and we want you there.
That's right. Awesome.
All right. And then, Wes, I'm so excited for this conversation. I love the topic. So I'm really excited to get to know you a little bit more and hear your takeaways on bike travel. So other announcement we have going on, really excited about this one, Velocity. You guys have been hearing us talk about it quite a bit lately. Velocity is live as of February 1st. So you can join us for group rides every week with the Grit to Greatness coaches that you've learned to love. So if you think we're fun on the podcast, wait until you experience the It's Not Easy Feeling Green feeling with Coach Rich, or the Get Gritty mountain bike skill ride with Coach April, or the Get After It Aero ride with myself, Coach Lauren. You can join now. Monthly access to 3 live classes per week is just $79 per month. And Grit to Greatness ambassadors, talk to your coach about the discounts that you will be getting as well. You can subscribe now at the link that will be in the show notes. So definitely check it out. Join us. It is going to be freaking awesome.
It's going to be freaking. It was freaking awesome this weekend, this past weekend with our ambassadors. That was so much fun
and entertaining. It's you guys have to experience Rich's coach, all of us, but Rich led the ride, and it was a lot of fun.
It was a riot. There is a story behind the feeling of green, which I love. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but you need to check in with Rich.
You need to come to the class. So if we're going live in February, the official very first class, when you register and log in, you'll see our calendar, and you will see that on Saturday the 7th, we have the very first, my Saturday ride. It's 90 minutes. It's an hour 25. This one's going to be kind of an intro to the platform. The pretty much the same thing that we did for our ambassadors this past weekend. And yeah, can't wait to see. We'll explain what the it's not easy feeling green or easy being green, I think, feeling is all about. So yeah, we're excited. And speaking of cycling, speaking of, getting yourself race ready, how are you now going to take your bike to your next race? So today we are joined by Wes Smith, the owner of ProBikeExpress, a Colorado-based bike transport and concierge race support service trusted by athletes across the country. Wes has spent more than a decade helping cyclists and triathletes travel. I love this phrase, travel like they train, offering a worry-free way to get bikes and your gear and your extra wheels, right, Wes, to major events without the stress of boxing it up or, breaking it down or, traveling with your own mechanic and, all the shipping and airline chaos or train chaos that can happen. His background spans athletics, the fitness industry, and years of working with brands like Schwinn, Nautilus, and Pearl Izumi. Experience the ultimate an experience that ultimately shaped the service-driven business industry that he leads today. From cyclocross nationals to triathlon races around the U.S., Wes and the ProBikeExpress team have built a reputation for taking care of every athlete with professional level attention, no matter their experience. And you even handle ad hoc situations like an absolute pro. More on all of this. We're going to get right into it right now. Wes, thanks for being with us. We've got a few questions for you to unpack all of this story. So, bud, thanks for being with us.
Sure. Willing and able when you're ready. Shoot.
I love that you already said unpack, Rich. I mean, the puns are heavy tonight. Wes, taking a look at your background, you've had a very diverse gamut of experience, from college athlete to working with Schwinn, Nautilus, and one of my favorite brands, Pearl Izumi. Can you walk us through how those experiences shaped the entrepreneur you are today?
I think it's always been in me. I ran a juice bar when I was in college, and I didn't really know that I was actually supposed to be an entrepreneur, because when I moved out here from North Carolina, got a job with Schwinn, and then I just got sucked into the corporate world. Everything from manufacturing to inventory control to selling bicycles. And then, long story short, through Nautilus and then through Pearl Izumi, the one thing that I actually ended up doing, getting laid off in 2008. And during that time, I had the experience of traveling all over the country, doing for my age, if somebody actually knows what the USGP used to be, does anybody know? It's a question, Q&A. United States Grand Prix for cyclocross. And that actually ran through, basically started in San Francisco in Southern California, and then that would actually run through the course of basically across the United States, all the way to Holy Cross in Providence, Rhode Island. And then from there, semi-pros would actually go to Europe and actually race in Worlds or Master Worlds. So I did the whole gamut of all of those races, traveled with my bike the entire time. And then through getting laid off, one thing that I realized is it's just a pain, borrowing somebody's trainer, riding by someone's car when it's raining or the wind's blowing 20 miles an hour. So when I got laid off, I was like, man, you know what? And not to give you all the background of everything that I've actually been involved with, but had some money. I was like, I think I'm going to buy this business and start it and make it better than it actually was. And then through the layoff, I got a job, and I was just actually a mechanic at Wheat Ridge Cyclery. And then they said, well, Wes, you seem a lot smarter than basically most of the common people here that actually work at the shop. Would you be interested in running this business? And long story short, before Wheat Ridge actually expanded their new in 2006 or 7, when they expanded and made their building bigger than it was, they were invested heavily into triathlon. They had this one dude who actually sold this business to Wheat Ridge. Wheat Ridge bought it. Then they put it in storage. and it was in storage for 2 years. Now, through that, all of that, basically, they says, "Oh, Wes, why don't you run it?" So I ran it for like about 3 months, and I went to first race I went to IRONMAN CDA, and figured out pretty quick on what triathlon was about, because I'd never really transported triathlon prior to and even understanding triathlon. I mean, I'm a cyclist by heart, so adding 2 more extra sports involved with it was intriguing. And then 3 months later, I bought the business, and then I just made it better, because they didn't really have a platform to basically do the service end of it as detailed as I would actually wanted it to be. And then bought it in 3 months, and then paid it off in 6. And they were like, how did you pay it off? I was like, because it's mine. And I wanted to actually make it worthwhile and grow it. And I wanted to grow it more organically, because I'm kind of an old school guy. Like, I'd much rather have people word of mouth talk about me versus actually social media. And that's why you don't see a lot of stuff on social media. I don't do a lot, because I'd much rather actually have someone talk about me versus actually just reading about me. So, long story short. So there you go.
I love that. I love hearing the story of how it all just kind of comes around to you being able to provide this amazing service that takes so much stress out of the like triathlon travel experience, because I'm sure anybody listening to this has probably had some experience where they were like, man, there's got to be an easier way than what I'm doing right now. And so I'm just curious, and you kind of touched upon this a little bit already, but what was the aha moment that made you decide to take over ProBikeExpress and grow it into the concierge style transport service it is now?
The second race that I did, I can't remember which one it was after IRONMAN CDA. And that's Coeur d'Alene for you people that don't know what the acronym stands for.
What year did you do it?
That would be 2009.
I was volunteering that year so I could race it in 2010.
And so IRONMAN CDA, the race after that, it was so funny. And I put this in some of the notes that y'all were questioning me on this. But there's this woman I picked up in Ironman, Texas. In Texas, and she wanted to go to this race. And this was because I knew people within the industry within Texas. And they says, "Oh, can you come down and pick up some bikes?" So I did. I meet her. She's in a boot with her foot, because basically she gives me the whole story, because a lot of triathletes, all you have to do is ask them one question, like, "How's your training going?" And then you don't have to say anything else, because they just spew it all out on everything they've experienced. So she actually says, "Well, are you going to do this race? Are you supporting people?" She says, No. I'm actually wearing this boot. I'm going to do this race. I had this doctor. He's put a cleat inside the bottom of the boot so I can actually ride my bike with the boot on." So I remember I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." So anyway, so we go up to CDA, and not CDA, but whatever race was at. And then she gets there, and she swims with it. She has a little baggie across her boot. Where's the boot? Rides her bike, clips on her bike, rides the bike. Even though the doctor said you probably shouldn't do this because you had a small fracture in her foot. But, that's irrelevant, because this is all about glory. So she ended up hobbling, and the entire while she finished right before cutoff. And I was like, you know what? People invest so much time, money, life, family, non-family. You're alone a lot. It's a lot of thinking time. And I was like, and I've worked with pros, I've traveled with pros, I've transported pros before, everything from USA Cycling Challenge to basically nationals and cyclocross and worlds and astroCross. The funny thing is that I had just a point of a haiku moment of clarity for people that drink too much. It was more about, I was like, look, you're investing all this time. It's like, if you're going to train like a pro, because you're basically putting in 22, 27 hours a week outside of your job, outside of your family, outside of everything you basically already have on your plate to compete, do nothing more than basically finish a race. And I was like, and that's where I came up with Travel Like You Train, because I wanted to. And a lot of people ask, like, "Oh, what's Travel Like You Train mean?" And I was like, "Oh, if you're going to invest all this time, you should at least be treated like a pro, versus actually, if you're going to train like one, you might as well be treated like one." Shazam.
Right.
That's it. Mic
I
drop.
love I love that
Shazam.
though, right? It's like, if you think about it, like, you spend so much time, so much energy, so much money training, and then you can let the experience be tainted by all the stress that comes with, if you're traveling with your bike and like stressed out about that, where it's like, it's such a worthwhile investment, considering
Well,
all of the things that we spend money on in this sport.
yeah, very true. I mean, this is, I could tell you, I have more stories than you can shake a stick at on regarding how many stories I could tell you, but I'll tell you one quick one on money wise. So I had two, husband and wife. One was a lawyer, one was doctor. They lived in Salt Lake City. They had gone with me several times before. I was going to IRONMAN in Florida, and they had prepaid. Round trip was like $600 for both of them. So about 4 weeks out from the race, they called me and says, "Wes, look, hey, we're not going to do the race. We're going to back out, and can you refund the money?" And I was like, "Yeah, no big deal. I get it. Totally get it. No problem." So I go to Salt Lake City, and I think they were in actually St. George, and then I drive down to Salt Lake, and then to St. George, and then I cut across I-10. And I can tell you exactly how long it takes to get anywhere in this country, drive time, by the way, sidebar. And so I drive to Florida. I get there, and I had a couple people from St. George that had registered too, took their bikes. And they says, "Oh, did you hear about blah, blah, blah?" And I'm like, I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want to actually ruffle any feathers. But basically, it says, "Oh, did you hear about the couple that actually was supposed to come down here with you?" He's like, "Nope." And I was like, they wanted to drive because they had gotten two brand new PX 5s, Cervelos. So they're about 12K a piece. And so they decided to drive from St. George to Florida. And going through the night, if you ever driven through Northwest Texas, you realize that basically it's a high wind. And long story short, they drive through the night because they're on a mission to get to the race. They had the bikes on a bike rack on the back of the car, which I don't understand, but that's okay. And then they proceeded to lose the bikes because the bikes blew off the car, and they didn't know it because they were driving through the night until the next morning. So they wake up, and as most triathletes do, they have a social media post, and so they posted a big thing on Facebook about basically their bikes. "Oh, we're desperate in need of bikes. Can we borrow some bikes when we get to Florida because we want to do this race?" And most of the people that in St. George that knew this couple, they was like, "Oh, they're just cheap," because they wanted to save money, because they wanted to drive. And the moral of the story is that they lost all sense of what I do and what I wanted to do. I mean, sure, insurance might have covered it. Sure, they probably found some bikes that probably got lent to it, but that wasn't the experience that they wanted. And then, triathlon's about experiences and about stories and about doing something that most people don't want to do. And so most of the friends down there, they get on the Florida and says, "Oh, it serves them right. They should have gone with you, Wes." So anyway, and then there's another dude in Salt Lake City. His wife, they come up. I'm dropping off in Guthrie's bike shop in Salt Lake City. They end up, she drops off her bike, and her husband gets out, and he starts grabbing her bike, and he goes, "Do you want me to grab your bike, honey?" And she says, "No, the only person that touches my bike is me and Wesley." And so he didn't ship my bike with me. He was actually going to, I forget which race it was, and he was going to working on his bike because he had to do things to it. Because that's what everybody does. They have to, make sure that everything's perfect and clean and not dirty and not ridden before. And so we're never even ridden outside. So he was working on it. They went through TSA, shipped it. Gets there, TSA had actually opened up the box because that's what they do to make sure there's nothing dangerous in the box, because it's a huge box and they don't know what's in it, and ended up cracking the fork of the bike. And basically gets there, figures it out. She comes, picks up her bike. And I was like, hey, where's your husband at? And this is, oh, he's at Home Depot right now because he was buying 2 metal bars and duct tape with ridging his fork together so he could actually ride the bike to do the race. Now, mind you, he did do the race, which I warned him. I was like, I don't know if I would do that if I were you with a broken fork, but you go ahead. So anyway, I'll stop there.
Well, you know what? I think your horror stories here are great. I think Coach Lauren has one of her own. But yeah, the point is, yeah, traveling with your bike is like anything can happen. This is we're going off script already.
All right. Cool.
The very first question I have for you here, Wes, is how long does it take to get from Boulder to Milwaukee? And what route do you take?
It's 14 hours and about 35 minutes. It depends on what time you drive. And then usually the best way to go if you were going to drive, I'd take 76 to 80, drive across, come down to Davenport, probably get to Milwaukee. So if you left at 4 in the afternoon, you get there probably around 7:45 in the morning, the following morning. But yeah, I-80 to 76 to 80, and then to I think it's 35. You cut across, and then you'll reach Milwaukee. So.
All right. Well, so then you passed the test. You said, ask me how long it takes to get from here to anywhere in the country and how to get there. I could tell you, test passed. I want to lean into something that, you just talked about, travel like you train, feel like a pro. It is, and I'll just use my experience with, Milwaukee, even though I know that we have either you and I have done a lot of other races together, or you and some of my athletes.
We have history. Yes.
We've got a lot of history. We even have a Pikes Peak history, which we'll talk about that later. But, there is nothing like, you fly into town, you fly into Milwaukee, you can go check into your hotel, drop off your bags, go down to the athlete village, grab your, whatever. You don't even and then whenever you're ready to go out for your ride, I just text you, hey, coming over around 10 or whatever, and the bikes are already out, on the lawn where you're parked just right off the site there. The bags are out in case we need them, or, the extra wheels or whatever, but it's ready to go. I just walk up, maybe we put some you've got bike pumps there. So we put a little bit of pressure there in the tires. I don't have to worry about CO2 cartridges, leaving them behind or buying new ones at the race, cause they just travel with my stuff. And, I go out for a shakeout ride, I come back and I just give the bike back to you. It just sits there like a valet until I need it again to go check it in for the race, or, and then after the race, when you're tired, yeah, I'm sure you want to go walk 5-6 blocks of Milwaukee with your bike, with the prospect.
Taking it apart, putting it in a bike box in the parking lot. Yeah.
Remember that guy that last year, I met him at the race and we were both going back. He lives right here in Highlands Ranch with me. And he goes, I'm just not looking forward to breaking down my bike. I'm like, dude, why don't you just do what I'm doing? Come meet Wes. And I'm like, he's like, that van right there. I'm just going to walk my bike over there. I'm going to hand him my bike and I'm done. My transition bag.
It's amazing.
And he asked you how much.
I would say, I don't want to interrupt, but it's very much to the extent of actually with travel like you train. The thing about it is you will always have a place to hang your hat or your bicycle when you travel with us. Most of the time, a lot of people don't know it until they go with me, because there's always the 20 questions. How long have you been in business? Do you have insurance? Who are you? Where did you grow up? Do you know anything about bikes? Blah, blah, blah. But I try to explain to people when they get to the race, it's if you want to go You want to go tool around for 15 minutes, open up your legs a little bit. If you don't want to take it back to your hotel, bring it back to me. I'll be the garage until you have to go to bike check-in.
Yeah.
I want to keep it simple and easy, to the simplest way for the athlete. Doesn't have to do anything except do what they actually traveled there to do. And that's to race their best race. And that's the biggest thing that I want to actually give them. So,
yeah, that's awesome. I wanted to go somewhere else with this too.
Sorry, I just broke your concentration. My apologies. My apologies.
No, brother, you are good. You know, one of the things I think is unique about your business model is, you know, the way that you travel with these bikes. These bikes are like, first of all, talk about like the proprietary like system that you have built.
I can't,
like, because
it's proprietary. I can't talk about it.
talk about it. Talk about what somebody would see if they look at your van in terms of like how their bike is secure in your van, as opposed to like just, you know,
There are a lot of different ways. A lot of this came through working at ProZumi, working at Schwinn, seeing how even back in the day, back in the early 2000s, 99, 98, how people would transport bikes. I mean, mind you, the world is in a different place with actually when it comes to basically the dollars that are involved with the bicycle, even though the mechanics and the engineering really hasn't changed that much, maybe just being a little lighter. But yeah, I fork mount all the bikes. I just take off the front wheel. And then a lot of times, just for the neuroses of basically a triathlete, I usually put their front wheel in a bike bag, keep it really simple. Everything's clean, and no other bike touches the other one. A lot of other different companies, every company that I've actually encountered, worked with, talked with, have all just shipped them fully complete. And they just stack them deep and treat them cheap in a truck. And that's fine. And most triathletes don't even know that, don't even actually care to know that. They just know that basically their bike's being shipped to X, Y, Z. But I got too much pride and too much OCD with myself taking care of someone else's bike or even mine, because I always travel with mine as well. And independently just fork mount them to the wall, strap them down so nobody touches anybody else with your bag. And then basically when you come there, you pick it up, ride it back to me, I put it up until bike check-in. So it keeps it really simple, and I can carry, I mean, I've done when the Oot route used to be here in Colorado. Anybody remember that?
oh yeah,
That was only like for a hot second. I think they did it for 2 years here, and it was a big Switzerland company. And I mean, I moved 750 bikes from basically from Cresta Butte to Colorado Springs in 4 hours. So, or how I move bikes independently for basically IRONMAN. They kind of hire me on the side, and I'll move 2,000 bikes in a day. So I don't know. That's all I got for you on that. So I just take care of people's bikes like I would care my own, very much like the golden rule. So that's what I got.
awesome. Thank you. It's such a unique part of your business and it's one of the things that makes me feel so confident, you know, giving you my bike. So,
Oh, well, thank you. Makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. That's nice.
I have a question that's, I guess this is kind of off script too, but it's just for anybody listening that also might not be in Colorado or near you. What's like a common mistake that triathletes make when traveling with their bikes that they can maybe avoid?
If I were going to, and I have plenty of people that get kind of disheartened that I'm not going to a particular race because they never do the final step of actually just going to my website and actually looking at basically, oh, he's going to go to this race, or basically, or even asking the question. It's like, oh, can you put this race on the schedule? And I'm like, sure, I can do that.
I'm in New Jersey, so I'm a little bit out of luck.
So no, that basically like the big thing about it is that if you were going to fly with your bike, there's several different ways that I would tell you to do it, because I've done it every which way that anyone can think about doing it. And because I've done the cheap and dirty version versus actually going completely OCD and repacking it with more bubble wrap and saran wrap and plastic and all my bike clothes stacked in there. So if I were somewhere that I wasn't at or picking up a bike, I would tell you to do two things. You could rent a bike box, or you can actually, if you're comfortable in actually taking apart a bike. And that's one of the big things that most triathletes don't know how to do, is because all they're doing is training. And the last thing they want to know is how to do is actually take apart basically a drivetrain, or basically derailleur hangers. Two things I would do if you had a bike, regardless of the year, even though most manufacturers are actually more proprietary now, I'd actually buy two derailleur hangers and I would take them with you, because that's the most common thing that usually breaks or bends. And that's one of the things that I would tell wherever you're traveling from, is have two derailleur hangers with you that you carry on yourself to go wherever you're going to go. Don't put it in your bike box, because someone will take it out and think it's really cool, whatever. But I would actually, if you're comfortable in actually taking apart your bike, first route, I'd probably do bike box. But I wouldn't use an airline, my personal preference, because airlines are actually what most triathletes and most people that fly with their bikes, they only cover up to $1,500 in insurance coverage on your bicycle. Make sure you fly direct if you're going to go anywhere. But if you are super concerned about flying with your bike, you can go that route, and that's fine. But if you were going, and if you had enough time, and depending on where your race was at, I would tell you to ship it FedEx and not UPS. UPS treats your bikes like garbage. FedEx takes a little bit more TLC to the idea of actually what's in the box, whether it's in basically cardboard or a cyan box or a cyan bag. So one thing is that I would ship it and mail it. And I would probably go ground anywhere in the United States. Anywhere takes from 3 to 5 days. Anything west of the Mississippi, or if you go anywhere south, it's going to take you 3 days, maybe 4. I would ship it directly to your hotel and let them have concierge service, or basically Airbnb. And then that way you can actually just take out your bike, put it together, ride it around. And then before you ship out from FedEx, I would make sure that basically you get a return tag for it. So after you race, you box it, you tag it, FedEx picks it up, you go home, it sees you there at your house. It's the easiest way to go if you're going to go that route. So now a lot of people want to do that, but the question you need to ask yourself is like, okay, if I do that, that's basically 5 days on the front end, 5 days on the back end, 2 days for the race, maybe 3. There's 2.5 weeks right there. And then basically if you ship UPS ground, that's about probably between $250 and $300, depending on where you go, west of the Mississippi. If you stay east of Mississippi, it's less expensive because there's more airports there. But one thing that's actually really intriguing is that know that you'll probably spend probably south of $1,000 to do the race to get your bike there. And I mean, and that's cool. I mean, y'all got more money than you know what to do with. You can check a stick at actually how much money y'all got. Y'all just spend it freely. So the one thing that's really interesting is like, oh, this is, oh, well, I don't know. It's like $450 to ship your bike and round trip, Wes. I don't know. That's kind of pricey. And I was like, you're right, it is, because most people actually get sticker shock because they freak out, and they don't actually. Human beings naturally are always in crisis mode about basically sticker shock. But if you can nickel and dime somebody to death, they'll never know. It's the death of 1,000 stabs. They'll never know what hit them. Because at the end of the race, if you do a half triathlon, I mean, you're going to spend, even if you've got I think I did all the math, but basically, it's $8,500 if you want to do a half somewhere. I mean, that's from soup to nuts. If you do a full, it's probably around 11 grand. And let's say that includes training, travel, 2 pairs of shoes, 2 wetsuits, goggles, new tires. You got to wear at least 2 kits because you want to look good for the day and a half before you actually have the race. You want to ride around in your posse and you ride around like a herd of people wearing kits. I know. I've seen it all. I've even been that guy. But I would actually go FedEx. That'd probably be the best way to go. But if you do go with me, the one thing I would tell you I'm not going to mention anybody's names, but there used to be a bigger company. They were kind of 800-pound gorilla in transport world. They had bike shops all over the country. And about 3 years ago, a friend of mine called me up because his bikes were actually in a hostage situation coming back from Worlds in Spain. And so through all of that, long story short, what ended up happening was that I got all these bike shops on the East Coast and the West Coast and all over the country that I actually have that I utilize for races or rides anywhere. Because like America's Most Beautiful Ride in Lake Tahoe, or Collegiate National Championships, which is in Gulfport, Mississippi this year. So I have plenty of bike shops all over the country. I have about 47. They're all over the country that work with me. It was kind of a hard deal because the company that actually used to do this work were very, very lazy in the communication actually to the bike shop. Oh, you're going to have 40 bikes dropping off your bike for about 2 weeks. Can we just take up your floor space? And bike shops don't like that. They hate it. But anyway, so I've got a bike shop. So if you're in New Jersey, and if you have more, where I was going to go with all that, but if you usually have 12 or more bikes anywhere in any particular time zone, I'll come and pick you up.
Good to know.
Wes, that was so good. Lauren, great question. Great question. I learned a ton from that. And we might even pick up some more excellent tips as we head into the fun segment, because these are like the wackiest things or the most common things, but suck, honestly, the suckiest things about traveling with your bike using airlines and such. So I can't wait to hear about your experiences as a team here and work through this together. But we are calling this fun segment in honor of Wes Bike Travel Bingo, because if you've traveled with your bike, you've probably lived this. So the universal experiences that every triathlete has faced when moving their bike from point A to the start line. How this works is I'm going to read a scenario. Each one of you are going to either answer yes, no, or unfortunately yes. I want you to give me a one-liner story, and then there's bonus chaos points for any emotional damage. All right, here is the first statement. You have stood at baggage claim watching every bag come out except your bike.
Unfortunately,
am I playing this too? Am I in the spot? Or am I living vicariously?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
No,
yes.
You're playing.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Each one of you have said, unfortunately, yes. One-liner, what happened?
Mine was, like the shortest, most direct flight you can imagine from here to Arizona for Ironman Arizona. It just, for whatever reason, didn't make my flight and came in on the next flight.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
So,
was it like 24 hours? Yeah.
Oh no, it was later that day. But
okay.
Still, you're like, where
is it?
Ironman is over. Yeah.
Law?
So I'll make it short, saying it was total flight chaos, sort of missing the flight layover. And I waited for 10 hours with my air tag showing that my bike was 800 feet away from me and they would not let me get my bike.
Oofta.
Yeah.
Wes.
Man.
Cyclocross National Championships, 2007. It was in Kansas City, and we drove, but we flew. But we put them UPS. That's how I learned the difference between UPS.
Oh wow, yeah.
And UPS is a little bit cheaper though. But back again, y'all got money. It's coming out of you. So I was spending money on FedEx. That's not an endorsement of FedEx, but I'm just letting you know. But
no, that's such good information.
And that's another reason why I brought up regarding basically shipping it to your hotel or Airbnb or wherever you're going to go, because they shipped it to the wrong location. So they I never got it until the following day. I got to pre-ride one hot lap before Cyclocross Nationals and building it. But that's my.
All right, next scenario. You have paid more to fly your bike than you did for your plane ticket.
No.
I didn't do the math, so it was probably close.
Yeah, I think I'm a no. I'm pretty sure I'm a no, but it was pretty close.
Yeah. It can
This is-
match it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they came down but like the big carriers used to charge a lot more. Like, it was like 150 each way or 200 each way or something like that.
All right. You arrived at a race missing one critical piece, whether it was your pedals, derailleur hanger, skewers.
Yes. Derailleur hangers. Yes, I'm living living through my personal experiences on derailleur hangers. Yes. So
Oof.
I took apart, take off the derailleur hanger so it won't bend, blah, blah, blah. Derailleur's hanging out, blah, blah, blah. And end up when I get the box there, I have none of the screws, bolts, derailleur hangers, anything to the bike. So it was awesome. Highly recommend it.
Wow.
It was a great race. It's a great race.
It's a no for me.
Rich?
Yeah, I would say it has actually not happened. Knock on wood. But it is. But I would say it's stressful, right? Because like I'm like, wait a minute, like because you're always like wondering, where, you're always wondering, like, are you going to do that to yourself? There's always that like low level anxiety.
So
isn't that the worst too?
This wasn't me, but I was at Challenge New Jersey, and the race announcer was over the PA asking if anyone had a spare wheel because somebody came to the race without a wheel. So wasn't me, but that happened. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask one more here. You have worried more about your bike than yourself during travel.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Duh.
1,000%.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's crazy on how much how you value that, and what kind of experience you want to have. Because, like, I mean, if you want to get into the nitty gritty details, just think about your cortisol levels and basically how bad your sleep's going to be. Basically, just through basically the stress of actually, even if your bike's actually only 6 hours away, or if it's on a different flight and it's going to be in an hour, the fact that you have to drive back to the airport, spend probably another 3.5 hours on the road, panicking about something that basically you shouldn't be. It makes total sense. I mean, I think I approve, and I think everyone should experience that. So,
I think that's probably what has happened to the listeners listening to this episode is we probably raised their cortisol just a little bit. And that is exactly why athletes are rethinking bike travel altogether, because removing this stress changes everything about race week. And thank you so much, Wes, for playing Bike Travel Bingo. Everybody's cards have been officially stamped. And that's, again, why we encourage you to check out ProBikeExpress, because this is one way to really alleviate the stress that is racing, training and racing.
That's awesome. Wow, Wes, that was fun. It was so much fun adding you to the mix on this one too, because of all of your experience.
Yeah, I really appreciate you actually inviting me on the show. Maybe I'll be able to touch one person out of the 3 that's actually on this call. But other than that, I think it would be a great. But if anybody's curious about like what's going on and what's he doing, you just have to go to the website ProBikeExpress.com.
Awesome, buddy. Well, we're going to stay in touch with you. We've got a lot of folks that are going to Milwaukee from this area, and we have all sorts of other plans this summer with, camps and all of that. So
I'll do
let's
those
stay
too.
connected. Yeah, April, the very first time I did Pikes Peak back with Bill and Kim and a bunch of other 303 folks. What was the story? You were coming back from a race, like you had the van, and you sagged our gear up to the top of Pikes Peak.
Wow.
That was the same day that the Oud route was actually coming back from Crystal Butte to Colorado Springs, because they were riding up Pikes Peak that day too. So I was like, I can just kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and I can support this ride, and they'll be on their own, and I don't have to do anything else. And so it was great. But yes, I do all of that. I mean, I carry the food, the water. I'm back kind of
Can
like
you carry
your.
me up there too?
You got a bungee cord I can hang on to?
Many times there's people just think that they assume that I'm some type of bike god. There's like, oh, Wes, do you want to go ride with us? I was like, yeah, I can. I mean,
Awesome.
but anyway, so yeah, I'll do it. I mean, it costs a small fee, but yeah, sure, I can actually ride for you.
Well, we'll stay in touch. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us through the close here. Here we go. Folks, thanks for checking in with us this week. Let's give a shout out to our show sponsor, Vespa Endurance. Vespa Power Endurance helps you tap into steady, clean energy so you stay strong, focused, and in the zone longer. Vespa is not fuel, but a metabolic catalyst that shifts your body from using sugar to use more fat as your fuel source. Vespa comes in a variety of products. We've got a great discount for you. If this is your first purchase, you can save 20% off using the code 303endurance20. If you are a recurring customer, you can save 15% anytime using G2G Vespa 15. Link is here in the show notes. Check them out. It really does make a world of difference. And don't forget to sign up for the TriDot Pool School in Colorado Springs and check out ProBikeExpress. Thanks for spending time today on the Grit to Greatness Endurance podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please follow us on Instagram at G2G Endurance and leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us reach more athletes just like you. Stay gritty, train smart, and keep chasing greatness. We will catch you next week.